Does everything have a bright side to it? Of course. Doesn't always outweigh the negatives, but everything has a bright side to it. This makes happiness a choice. And here we say that the discipline of being happy is the ultimate discipline. With that said, welcome to the Ultimate Discipline Podcast, where we meet with people who are practitioners of this exact discipline, and we hear their cool stories of cultivating happiness through challenges in their life. I am your host, Sean Greenspan. Let's get to it. Mr. Flax, what's happening?
Nothing much, my friend. How are you?
I'm good. I didn't know you knew how to play guitar. You got one on the wall?
Yeah, so that's a common question I get, and I always have to let people down by telling them that if I had a guitar in my hand, I wouldn't know which way to hold it personally. It's definitely just for decoration. And yeah, you're in Italy, right?
I am in Italy. I was going to say, neither one of us are in our home, so I know you didn't put that
No.
on the wall.
Yeah. No, both of us are living similar lives. You know, you've always been an inspiration to me, just so you know, with your lifestyle. So
Dude,
I'm just trying to take a little page out of your book.
I appreciate, for those that don't know, well, both of us live, I would say, just, on the road. Mike just got down to San Diego, and you were coming
Yep.
from Portland.
Came from Portland, started in Chicago where I spent my last 2 years, and then did Portland and now San Diego. So yeah, we're traveling.
Dude, this is awesome. So, I've been living like this. Me and Emma just found it. We're just over 2 years living like this. We're on okay, so Italy's a boot with a
Yes.
heel, a
Right.
high-heeled boot. We're on the
Right.
heel,
Yeah.
on the Adriatic Sea side.
Cool.
So it's a cool spot.
How much, I mean, the answer, I'm not sure what your answer will be, but how much wine have you drank? Well, because if I were in Italy, I mean, it would just be, I'd stop drinking everything else. I just have wine,
Dude,
like on a daily
good.
basis.
You asked at a good time. As sad as it would be, I would say zero. I've been here 7 weeks. I'd say zero. But last night, me and Emma had a bottle.
There you
Because,
go. There you go.
all right, so check this out. Last night, we're looking for cooking classes, right? We're in Puglia, which is the region. Cozzi is the town. And we're
Okay.
looking for traditional Apulian cooking classes because,
Yeah.
we're in Cozzi. We're not in Rome or Venice. That's our style, is to be kind of tucked away.
Yeah.
And we found
Rome's
these.
too mainstream for you, man. Rome's just
Yeah,
too
dude, too mainstream.
Yeah.
So, dude, we found these cooking classes that were groups of 20, and they were the shuttle bus leaves at this time. And then when I saw that you get an apron when you leave, I'm like, this is just not for me.
not for you. Yeah.
And we found this one that they were you could tell they were this is a traditional cooking experience. It's just you two. All right. And we're it's on a farm where they grow everything. And then he straight up called his friend's grandma. That's what we found out was. It's just his friend's grandma that sometimes has people cook with them. And
That's great.
yeah, and dude, she was cooking for us, and she pulled out a chilled bottle of white wine that she made with her grapes. I'm drinking that. I'm drinking that.
You can't turn her down, right? You can't turn her
No.
down if she offers.
It wasn't a question. It was just a hand.
Did they call her Nona? Is she an Italian?
Nona. Oh yeah,
Nona?
dude. She was whipping it up. Except so we made pasta. We mixed the dough, and I didn't put enough water. And she just said piccola agua, little more water. So we're mixing it up, rolling it out, and then what you had to do is cut a little bit with a knife, smush it, and it rolls around the knife. And then you roll it over your finger to make the shells, because we made shell pasta.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, we must have made 1,000 pieces each. And at the end, she was looking at all mine, and she just balled them back up, and she redid them real quick. I'm like, dude, I just spent so much time on this, and mine sucked.
I haven't focused on one thing like this in years, and you just crushed it up in 3 seconds.
Oh man,
that's great.
It was devastating.
Yeah, that's
dude.
Well, good for you guys. That sounds fun. That sounds fun.
Yeah.
A cooking class. So I need my girlfriend's been wanting to, and it'd be fun.
Dude, San Diego street tacos.
Yeah,
Well,
pretty much.
yeah. For those that don't know, this gentleman, Michael Flax, has been a friend of mine for a long time.
Long time.
Since 3-on-3 basketball in middle school.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know if I have many friends that go as far back as you and I, which is great. And yeah, I mean, we, for lack of a better word, just dominated the Gaithersburg area middle school basketball scene. And I always thought, NBA is like a no question. You and I will play on the same team in the NBA.
Same team. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was like there was no question. So, and then that fizzled out within about 3 seconds, but we had that dream for a second.
Yeah. I was gonna say that's led to what we're doing now.
Yeah.
No, but Mike, I'll tell you, I had so Michael now is an entrepreneur. He runs an accounting and financial firm, which is awesome. Flax CPA. He's living completely on the road, and this was 2 years ago, maybe 2.5 years ago. I remember the phone call we had. I was sitting out on my deck in Milwaukee, telling you that I'm starting my new company, need a little like accounting help. But you were just not just you had a great job, and you were like, I was like, can I get some help? You're like, I don't really do this, but yeah, I'll help you. Like, I'm not gonna let you just like get screwed over. And you were helping me, and dude, it was the first time I've had someone give me that level of help without asking for anything in return. And I just want to thank you for that, because that's like a life lesson that I've learned. And to you, it's probably nothing, Michael, but I'm telling you, like, people don't just do that. Like, this man would go on hour-long calls with me. I would take a 18-mile run talking to him, panting the whole time, asking him accounting questions, and he had the patience to sit and chat with me. And what's cool, I hope you've expressed this a little bit. I hope, like, because of those calls, I was able to inspire you a little bit to kind of start your own thing and then get rolling. But man, that was cool. I thank you for that. That's a gift that I'm trying to embody.
Yeah, of course. And you definitely have inspired me with starting a business. And you were client number one, client number 001, Sean Greenspan, which is
and still a client.
And still a client. And I've learned a lot just from working with you. You kind of pushing me into learning new things about small business owners and how we can help them. But back to like the giving without taking. Very nice comment for you to make. I'd say I never really felt that way. I think I was really fortunate to have two parents who just embodied that from the beginning. And I just kind of just thought that was a way of life. Both my parents, my mom was a middle school teacher for 34 years. And my dad, it works in the tech space, and he has for a long time. But like a good example is with my high school baseball team. My parents put all these videos together and made a year-end video at the end of the year so we could keep this, right? The 2012 high school, St. John's High School baseball year video. And they continue to do that to this day. Now, none of us still play there, right? And they don't get paid for what they do, but they're just there to support. And that's just like one of many daily examples of just like, if someone asks for help, but you just do it. And I just realized years later that it was just my parents. I didn't know anything else. So I'm by no means perfect, but I think that they instilled that.
That's some dude.
So
you embody your genius. Everyone has different geniuses. That's definitely an area, dude, that like through and through. I put it this way. I remember like when we kind of like made that, like that switch to like, hey, Sean, like, I have a real business, you have a real business, like you got to start paying me. Like it was almost like you almost like felt bad. And it's like, dude, you're providing so much value. But anyways, like that really was something, that I've been trying to do. I mean, just today, actually, really interesting example. I'll tell you, I was kind of getting ready for this podcast, and I was thinking about it on my run, Mike.
Yeah,
And there's a client that we're actually crushing it with, and he said he just needs to take what we've done in house. Just kind of, it kind of happens when you train people almost like too well, if you will.
sure.
They I saw the writing on the wall. They had an assistant that was like, coming out of college. We trained him, whatever.
Yeah,
The first two posts they put up on YouTube were like a minute 1 second, a minute 5 seconds. The whole point that we put a strategy in for them to put short videos on YouTube was to be a YouTube short video, because then YouTube pushes it out. The video was over a minute, so it's not a short. So it's like there's no point of putting this video out. So I texted him. I said, hey Aaron, I need you to cut these videos down to under 160 seconds so they go on YouTube Shorts and send them out. He's not a paying client. He's the opposite. This is day one of
sure.
us not working together.
Yeah,
But I just thought, I'm like, it's not like I don't like the guy. It's I want this guy to succeed.
yeah,
It's like it took me a second, and I really, Mike, like, I'm not here to say that every second I'm thinking about that lesson I learned from you, but I really did think about that today, and realize it's a weakness in my armor, I think, and something I'm trying to work on for sure.
Well, thank you. I appreciate those kind words. And
Oh yeah, man.
everyone's got their strengths and weaknesses, man. I mean, it's everyone's like,
Yeah, you can't play guitar. I can't
huge
either,
weakness.
but
You know what? And it would have worked so much better for me growing up and dating with being able to play a guitar. I had a teammate in college who could play guitar, and he would go out to bars and play guitar. And I was like, are you single? Because you're like, he was so cool. I was like, you were like one of the coolest guys I've ever met.
the only cooler thing's a puppy.
I never ever figured out the guitar thing, but that's
Mike, I'm gonna hit you with two questions. Pick your
sure.
poison, all right? Why did you start to live on the road? Why did you start a business? Dealer's
Okay.
choice. I guess not dealer's choice. That'd be my choice.
Yeah, I'll go chronological. So I'll start with why I decided to start a business. So funny story. I graduate college and I have a CPA, or I get my CPA, and I got an MBA in finance. And I go start working for one of the big four accounting firms, Deloitte, and I'm doing big time tax returns for big companies in a big company. And life's good. Life's great. I had moved home. I'm living in Maryland with my parents, driving out to McLean, Virginia every day and working. I get about 9 months in, and I looked at my bank account, and I had $20,000 in my bank account, and I thought, wow. I thought I've made it. I made it. And so I go to my parents and I say, hey, mom and dad, first of all, I'm rich. Second of all, I have $20,000 in my bank account. Second of all, what do I do with my money? Like, where do I put it? What do I do? And they said, and my parents are great people, very smart people, but they said, it's probably better off if you call your Uncle Rob down in Florida. He owns a business down there. He had a mortgage business for a long time, owns a landscaping business in Florida, and he invests in real estate. Call him, ask him if he'll take your 20 grand. So I get my Uncle Rob on the phone. I say, hey Rob, first of all, I'm rich. Second of all, can you take my 20,000 and can you make it 25? And Rob got real quiet and he goes, first of all, I'm not taking your money. No. And he goes, second of all, don't call me back. He said, don't call me back until you read 3 books: Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki, The Cash Flow Quadrants by Robert Kiyosaki, and The Millionaire Next Door, which is not by Robert Kiyosaki. It's by a variety of authors, and I can't remember the name. But He said, don't call me back until you read 3 books. I'm like, oh my God. So, and it's like
Like, I
mid-business.
guess I'm never talking to my uncle again.
Yeah, I'm like, you know, you don't realize how slow I read, Uncle Rob. So it took me like 6 months to get through these 3 books, but I'm reading these books. And I'm like, okay, you know, this is giving me a different perspective on like the movement of money and what it would take if you really wanted to, you know, grow wealth or build a business. You know, like what does it take? What are the steps to get there? Right. Like it gave me a good idea of what the steps were to get there. And so I called my uncle back 6 months later. I'm like, all right, I have a new perspective. I know I want to start a business at some point. I don't know what to do, and I'm not leaving my job right now, but thank you for your help. And you know, I'll hold on to my 20,000. And time goes on, and Rob, to his credit, you know, kept in touch with me and said, where are you at with this? Are you going to start a business? Are you going to do this? And I was like, Rob, you know, I'm not ready. I'm not ready. And then I thought, okay, maybe I'll do something on the side. And so I Googled, what do you do to make money? And the first thing that came up,
I remember this.
yeah, the first thing that came up was drop shipping. And I'm like, drop shipping, I got this. I'm gonna be Mr. Drop Shipper. And I paid like big money to somebody to like take their online class to learn drop shipping, and I gave it a shot. I didn't sell one thing. It was time consuming, and I tried. I couldn't figure it out. But I was like, I know I want to start a business. So
Wait, I want to stop there for a second.
sure.
So, you tried.
I tried.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
What was that decision process like? I remember the company. I remember the amount that you had to put into it, and it was a lot.
Yeah.
And how did you weigh that decision as a way to determine I'm gonna try it?
Yeah. Well, it's all emotional, right? Everything comes back to our emotions. You know, taking the first step towards anything, especially starting a business, it's just an emotional thing. It doesn't matter whether you're selling t-shirts. Sorry, I'm like had too many coffees today. It doesn't matter whether you're selling t-shirts, starting an accounting business, you know, whatever you're doing. Just like taking that first step is an emotional decision. So I think I was able to get in control of my emotions and write down a 5-step plan for myself. Step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, and say, okay, I want to, within 1 to 2 weeks, I want to have watched all these videos. Within 3 to 4 weeks, I want to have my website live. Within 5 weeks, I want to choose my products. Week 6.
So it was palatable.
Yeah, exactly. Like break it down for yourself and take that first step of just like laying it all out and knowing that it's not going to be perfect, but just taking that first step. So that's, you know, and so that's how I got started, and I broke it down in a simplified format that would allow me to, you know, get into it in an easier way for myself.
Yeah.
And then maintaining, yeah. So maintaining it and being consistent is the hard part, right? I mean, so, you know, you start, which is great, and then you're like, all right, you know, I'm 6, 7 weeks into this, and you know, it takes a lot of dedication on the weekends and after work, and how much do I really want to do this? And so you really got to push yourself to stay with it. And I tried, and you know, at the same time, I knew that this wasn't the right thing. So I said, okay, why pour any more time or money into this? This isn't really what is sustainable for myself going forward. And so I was able to then, you know, take the emotional step of saying, I didn't do this well, and that's okay. And so I'm going to know that I spent X amount of money, and I'm going to move on.
Yeah. That's a good, dude.
So,
That is a good decision to stop, right? It's, what's that psychological fallacy that people make all the time? Oh, I think it's called like the lost cause syndrome or something. No, I'm gonna have to Google it, but it's something about like people get attached to things, like because you invest that time and money into it doesn't mean continue doing it, right? If you're watching a shitty movie and you're 45 minutes in, you don't need to watch the rest of the movie. Like
right.
It's like the lost cause syndrome, something like that. And yeah, it's something that like people do all the time. But I did want to go back to, I love the way that you recognize, how you have to pull the emotion out of the decision to start the dropshipping company. I don't think it's a bad decision that you started, because it taught you to, quiet your fear down, right? And you definitely learn, like businesses are like a real thing and they're difficult to get
Yeah,
going. My first
they
company was
are.
a drop shipping company that I still have. I'm trying to sell it tomorrow because I'm done with it.
But I think it definitely taught me some things that stick with me today. Like, what is marketing? I'm just like this CPA. We do numbers. I didn't know the first thing about marketing, so it's just a nice little intro to that.
That's when you call me.
That's when I call Sean. Yeah, I say, Sean, what the heck is this? And I definitely did call you and say, what do I even do? But yeah, I think the hardest thing is when people identify their business with themselves publicly, it becomes harder to emotionally detach yourself and step away. So what I'm trying to say is, I told all my family, guess what? I'm going to start a dropshipping business, and like, I'm really excited about it. And I told aunts and uncles and this and that. And then, I'm like, 10 weeks in, 11 weeks in, I'm like, well, this is what people think I do all day. And, this is what people want to hear about. And this is what I talk to people about. And I have to be humble enough to be able to tell them, no, I shut that down. And it didn't make sense. And that's okay. And so
Dude,
it's that part.
that's worth the price of admission.
Yeah, exactly.
Being humble, it's there to me, there's like two different like main like stereotypical scenarios where you need it. There's the big stuff, and then there's like the moment to moment. I remember actually recently we messed something up with a client, and I immediately got my team. I got the 3 people involved on the phone. I said, let's hop on the phone. I started the call. I said, guys, you know how I roll. I'll start by saying this is all my fault because it's my company, right?
Yeah.
There's something I could have done to clarify things, whatever, and make it better. I was like, so with that on the table, no one's getting fired over this. Let me hear just like logically what happened step by step. We went through it, and it was literally one person fucked up. Like they just didn't pay attention. That was the bottom line.
Yeah.
So I thought about it, and it's bad. My first thought was, what excuse am I going to give my client?
Yeah.
And right when I thought that, I flipped, and I just called the guy and I said, hey, this happened. We messed up.
Yeah.
And he's like, what do you mean? How'd that happen? I was like, it's a mistake that's entirely my fault, because I could have, prevented it through training and, double checking. And I mean, it's something that happens 3 or 4 times a day for me for several clients. So, I do try to actually check them all, but it was, when I checked it, it was messed up and already live. And that like it in a weird way, it deepened our bond. And he goes, Sean, he literally said, Sean, I can trust you now.
Yeah.
And he's like, things happen. I mean, we've been working with him for like 9 months, and everything's been going pretty smooth.
Yeah.
And this was, decently. But then the other stereotypical one like is more subtle. And I think it's like in our like day to day, like the really small ways that we communicate. Like if you tell me something, I say like, yeah, but versus like, yeah, and what I mean? Like, yeah, but means like, I need to end this conversation with like me having said the cooler thing, or what, the more important thing.
Yeah.
And that to me builds up over time. That's what I'm trying to work on, you watch how many conversations people are in, you're in that go like this. Here's a life update. Here's a slightly better life update. Wow, that's so cool. It reminds me of the time I did something a little bit better.
My gosh. Yes.
Dude, it's like, it's like, oh,
Yes.
like, it's just like, where are you? Oh, I'm here. Oh, when I was here, I had the best time ever. Like, versus just like true appreciation.
Yeah. No, I Man, I have so many different thoughts on everything you just said.
Pick
I'll go
one.
back to the most recent one you just said. Uh, you know, the problem with that is we're always living in the past. If that's how we're communicating, of, you know, I told you about something I was doing in the, that I'm doing now, and then you want to bring up something you did in the past, and then I want to be with this or that, and then it's like, what is the present moment? And I know that's crazy, but that's something I've, been trying to focus on more, is the present moment. And those types of conversations, by focusing more on the present moment, I've noticed those conversations more often.
Now we're
Humility,
getting into some juicy stuff. Humility in the
humility.
present moment.
Yeah, I mean, well,
Gotta flip my hat around for this.
with the big picture, with humility, and like admitting faults, I do think that most humans know that we're just humans, and people really just want to know, like, did you have another motive that's not focused on me, or were you doing something that really is centered on you, and you didn't care as much about me, for whatever reason? And if you can really just admit your own faults to people, they really take it the right way.
Yeah.
It's so much better just speaking the truth. The truth at the end of the day just always has worked, and it's taken a long time for me to understand that. Like growing up as a kid, like, you're not always. I just learned that as I've matured. Probably since I was like 22, 23. I'm just like, well, I'm just going to tell the truth at all times, always, and the chips are going to fall where they fall. And it's a
And
much
you
better.
still probably don't, because I don't. No one does.
Yeah, no. It's easier to bring out on like harder conversations when you're like, I'm going to think through this. Let's just go to the truth. But yeah, I mean, day to day, conversation.
Yeah. All right. I'm gonna really mess this up here. So we're talking about this, right? And I just said, I was just kind of like messing around, poking fun at you. And I was like, and you probably don't, right? But then did you hear I said, because I don't.
Yeah, right.
I said you don't,
Yeah,
because I don't, right?
yeah,
Dude, that's like the little stuff that, I mean, it's obviously our ego playing a role there, but it's like there's actually no correlation. Like,
yeah,
you doing it is not because I don't. And I said, because we all don't, like, I was obviously just trying to say, like, just trying to be more relatable in a sense, like,
yeah,
these are things you're working on, but you're always working on them, right? Like,
yeah,
these are things I may be working on. I'm always
yeah,
working on them. But even the way that I said that, I said, you're not doing it because I'm not. It's like I had
yeah.
to like I couldn't just say I don't. I had to like bring you down.
Well, and it's, I think people really like when we're open with who we really are, and admit our mistakes and make fun of ourselves. I think um, it's always an easier path to connect with someone when you're very open and just making fun of yourself, and not that this was necessarily making fun of yourself, but it,
Yeah,
being open about not being perfect.
for sure. For
So,
sure.
yeah,
Let's loop back to the being in the moment. And the reason I would like to loop back there
yeah,
is it's a common thing that people bring up. I think it's simple to understand, to say. I think it's just like, humility, harder to embody and execute.
oh yeah,
And I also have this belief that, like it's like a higher level of awareness, right? That's kind of what we're talking about. I
yeah,
kind of have this belief that, like, every book I've been reading, every person I've been talking to, every experience I had leads back to that. Having a higher level of awareness and experiencing life is kind of like the main thesis of it all.
yeah,
It just, that's where like experience, like feeling, emotion comes from, learning comes from,
yeah.
like all of it. And it's crazy, like, it's crazy how difficult it is.
I agree, and I'm realizing I didn't plug in my computer. Just give me 1 second.
Is where I wish I like queued up like Jeopardy music or something.
Sorry about that. It is so hard. I mean, if you can capture the present moment for 5 minutes a day, you've won. I think that it's not how we're hardwired to think like that. And it would make sense. Why would we be hardwired to live in the present moment? Humanity wouldn't have survived if, we were just thought about the present moment, right? Like we have anxieties and we think about the future and the past to help us prepare for the future so that we can survive. So that's how we're hardwired. But yeah, you really have like dug into that existentialism of like life. You've always done that, and I think that's like really cool. I think you're, of everyone I know, probably someone who does it the most that I'm aware of. It's very hard. It's not the way we're wired at all. The best. So had read a book, The Power of Now, a little while ago.
Yeah.
And the best.
Mike's a big reader, if you guys don't know.
Yeah, right.
He
Yeah.
reads books.
I mentioned 4 books on here, which is
we got 4 more coming. Don't worry. Everybody.
Yeah, right. No, I try. I'm not always like good with it, but the Power of Now basically said that all of our happiness and all of our sadness comes from the future and the past. Okay. Which one do you think happiness comes from? Future or past?
Past.
Past. Sadness, and a better word, anxiety, future. Right?
Yeah, for sure.
Right. And if you think about it, like everything that has caused anxiety since the moment I woke up this morning was about something that was going to theoretically happen in 3 hours, 3 days, 3 months, or whatever it is. But it wasn't happening at this moment. But I spent my entire 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. thinking about that or worrying about that, but it wasn't the present moment. And so that's really allowed me to be like, okay, I'm just thinking about something.
Yeah.
And it's not real. It's not real. And 90% of the time won't ever come true. But
yeah, man.
And so I think just being able to separate yourself from that and notice that your thoughts are drifting in that direction is it's a good way to get to what you were talking about of living life. Like, how can you capture life for 5 minutes? And it's you hold on to it for 30 seconds and then you're back to normalness. It's not like you get this all day every day. That's not real.
With drugs it is.
With drugs, yeah. So I got a guy. I'm just kidding. But
no, Mike, I want to thank you for sharing that thought. It's something that no matter how much you hear it, hearing it again, hearing it with from someone that's obviously taking the time to read a book and reflect on it and put it into their own words, it's just a gift, because it's like that little like drop nugget you dropped is like a cultivation of like hours and hours and hours of what's going on in your brain. And you are right. So I actually put out today on my Instagram a quote. I said it to Emma, and then we started Googling it. I think I'm coining a quote because there's no documentation of this.
Oh, I like it.
But what I said to her was, I said, if you can't tell the future, don't judge the present moment. And what I mean by that is, I mentioned to you that I lost that one client, right? I was working with them for a while. We were killing it. It was just something going on. And I have 17 clients now. So it's not like it's the end of the world, but it's a big client. And my initial reaction was like, darn, right? Yeah. And then I said, like, wait a second. And I really looked at it, and I was spending about 2 hours, 2.5 hours a week on this client, right? And my team was, and now I was actually able to offload something to my team and probably open 4 hours up in my week. And yeah, I am not this exact with my schedule. I'm guesstimating here.
Yeah.
Now, I have not done as much marketing around this podcast as I'd like. I think the content of the quality of the podcast has been high. The quality of the guest has been high. Haven't loved what I've done with the production and the marketing of it. And I told myself I need to free up a few hours a week and I'll be able to do that. So I went from this thing that I was like upset about to realizing that like that this has the potential of being, you know, the catalyst to help, you know, market my podcast and then maybe launch my podcast. And this is something I'm doing for fun. So now we're talking like dream state of euphoric living. Like, can I turn in like one of my biggest passions into, you know, my work, right? And it's like, then, you know, now I want to be clear about something. You know, living in this future state, obviously it's better if you're thinking positively, but that's still not living in the present moment, right? But I did just get to think for a second, like I spent, it was maybe only 2 or 3 minutes, but 2 or 3 minutes of just poo-poo pants Sean. I was like, why did this happen? Like, you know, this sucks. Like a lot of things are gonna happen. I was like, you know, with this contractor, I'm gonna have less business. They're gonna be less loyal to me. Like, I thought this was gonna be a great case study. Like, you know, I thought like, whatever. And then it's like there's a potential for this to be like one of the like I could look back in 5 years and be like, that was the moment I freed up my time, you know. And just like you literally never know. I mean, what if clients start dropping like flies? I like shut down my whole business and then you know, have the time to write a book and become a New York Times bestselling author 10 times over again. It's like the best thing that happened to you was you know, you just have no idea. You're always on the path.
Yeah. I want us to make sure that we take a little snippet of that quote. So then when you are on tour as an author, this was the moment when you said, I'm going to become a best-selling author 10 times over. Like, I want this moment.
We have the technology for that.
We got it. Yeah, I mean, perspective, man. It's like, it's just what perspective really runs your life, honestly. It's great. I mean, I make more money than I used to. And that's so great. And then it's like, but the next dollar I care, you know, now I have like a new standard of financial security for myself. And then I'll make more money and there'll be more financial security for myself. And then I have this like expectation, if I fall below this, you know, it's like, it's all very subjective. And, you know, I just think at every turn in life, perspective, like you were just talking about your client of, all right, they left, but now I have a positive perspective, the things I can do with my time.
And it's like a little bit of like a paradox, almost, because, you know, you need to have goals and you got to push yourself towards those goals. But you have to have the unbelievable discipline. There's a little podcast name plug. Discipline to stay composed. You know what I mean? Like I had the same thought, Mike. I was like, you know, part of it was revenue that I was thinking about that I lost. But then I'm kind of like, well, you know, I'm still making a good impact on this world. I'm still doing things that I enjoy, right? I'm still, you know, have a roof over my head. What's like a daily, like, do you do any daily practice? Like, you know, like that's out of the norm that maybe helps you, you know, with this perspective and awareness and staying in the now?
Yeah, well, I'll actually start by saying I do. And I got to this point actually with a lot of influence from you, frankly.
Thank you.
I think you really brought this to light a little bit for me. Of you said something to me like 2 years ago, and you probably don't remember it, but you said that if you want to be happy in life, you have to work for it. And I thought, wait, you're right. I need to put in effort on a daily basis to get myself in the right mindset. It doesn't just happen. Habitually growing up, you know, like from start to 28 years old, you develop habits that don't lean on happiness 24/7. So you have to take it head on and not just do things that are stressful to then get to a point where you can not be quote unquote stressed and then you're somehow happy. Which is the norm, right? I mean, that's typically how people approach
Yeah,
things.
man.
You have to take it head on. You have to really, you have to invest your time, your energy, your money into making yourself happy. And you were the one who said that to me. That's the truth. I started with meditation a while ago. I think like early 2020. Started with meditation, and I did meditation through Headspace for a little bit, like once or twice a day. And then you had mentioned journaling to me, and so I bought a journal. And you always mention these things in passing, and I'm like, I listen. I've listened to you. I listen to other people when they say things. I take the steps, and so I filled out, a couple journals in the last couple of years. I'd say at certain times I was more consistent than others. Leaned on it when I needed it more, but 10 minutes of meditation, either first thing or last thing during the day, and then journaling, which I typically do in the beginning of the day. And those things have helped me, and they just really clear my thoughts.
Yeah.
So
Good.
allow me to just organize or slow down a little bit.
Yeah.
So.
Thank you for that. I really appreciate the fact
Yeah.
that I guess you listened and I was able to make an impact and you shared it with me.
You really
brought
were.
me, dude, you want to talk about present moment? You brought me in more than I felt captivated just in a long time there. So thank you. I will say, Mike, dude, I remember like I was like, hey, like if you're thinking about starting a business, you got to read the 4-Hour Work Week by Tim Ferriss. Then
Yep.
like, I text you a couple like weeks later, like, oh, you see the Redskins game? You're like, yeah, and by the way, I'm done the book. And I didn't even think you remembered the name of the book, let alone got it, bought it, read it, took notes. Dude, that's something, don't lose it. Dude, most people are going to spend 2 hours thinking about if they should buy the book when they could have been on chapter 8. And that's awesome, man. What do you journal about?
Yeah, it's general. I think I start with I definitely throw in things I'm grateful for. Happy about this, or things I'm sad about or anxious about. And then I almost do like a self-talk of like, all right, I'm anxious about this call that I have today. Bullet point. Next bullet point. I'm going to do great, and I don't need to put so much weight on this phone call, and life's going to be fine no matter what. And I'm thankful for my health today, and that I have a good relationship with my girlfriend, and then that's really it. That's enough for me to just relax.
Well, it's able to act as a brain dump, dude. Gratitude. Yes. Anyone out there that is not actively right working at gratitude, right? Work at gratitude. I cannot, there's no more powerful, love is the highest powerful emotion, like vibrationally. Gratitude, I believe, the second. Dude, it manifests things. It makes you feel good. It calms anxiety. It gives you superpowers.
Yeah.
I find that I'm able to cultivate gratitude by exercising, because and it cultivates optimism, because just like I take runs and like you're just grateful for your body and optimism, right? Like you're not going to go for another set of bench press if you don't think you can get it, even the last one was really hard, and it teaches you to be optimistic while stressed. Like it's awesome. Mike, that's just I appreciate you sharing that. And that's the title of the podcast, man. Happiness is life's ultimate discipline, dude. If there's anything I could share with people, it's just like don't be scared to work at something and find beauty in the work. Beauty in the work.
Well, and you gotta work. And like, if you wanted anything in life, let's say, I don't know, let's say you were buying a new car, right? Like, and you wanted this car. All right. First of all, you're probably going to budget for it, and you're going to go, all right, I need X amount in my bank account to get me there. And then I need to be making this much a month to get that Corvette. And all right, so you budget and you get yourself there. And then you talk to 7 different Corvette dealers. You look at, you do all this research, you put time into it, you put energy into it, you obviously put money into it to get what you want. And I think a lot of people think that when it comes to like true happiness and peace, it's just going to show up on their doorstep one day without, talking to the happiness dealer, like without putting in the time. And so that is a concept that I don't think I'd ever heard of until we had started, talking more a couple of years ago. So
I appreciate that.
Very right.
Dude,
And I like that you're doing the podcast on it because I think it's a really interesting concept and that concept needs to be spread. So,
I appreciate that. I'm writing a book. You could put like a laughy emoji next to that because it's been a long time coming. There's a lot of good content on about 180 scrambled ass Google Doc sheets, but there's an entire section of the book that's called "Why Do People Play More Than They Practice?" And what I mean by that is Mike was a stud baseball player, guys. I mean, Mike, how many practice swings would you take or give me a ratio of practice swings compared to game swings, right? Now here's the thing. Now think about how many times have you practiced putting yourself in a really high stressful situation? Not like subtly, like really practice. Like I just go to working out because it's easy, right? Like literally going to failure on bench press with no fucking spotter. And then you have the bar here and you say, I'm going to stay composed. I'm going to focus on my breathing, my form, and I'm going to go for another rep. So you're putting yourself under stress and you're remaining calm and positive. Like, how many times do you practice putting yourself under stress compared to how many times you get stressed? Like, why do people think in life they can just execute without practicing? Like,
it's crazy. I really appreciate the nice comments about me being a baseball player and having some success there in my past. But I don't know if you remember, I actually was like not the most athletic kid in middle school. It was definitely like, you and some other people that were more like, I remember Danny Mars was like really gifted at baseball. Like things just came naturally. When I was in 8th grade, I batted 10th on my baseball team. They put me at second base for like the
10.
last.
Do they have a 10?
Yeah, right. Like just to show you, they like in that age you do have 10th, and just like so everyone could get an at bat. My point being, I was actually pretty bad at baseball. I went to St. John's, which is like a baseball academy almost in the DC area. Shout out St. John's, like literally has built me as a person foundationally through and through, especially through the baseball program, where it was, we're going to do 10,000 reps before we get into a game. We're going to do 7 million, foot drills, dry drills, without even seeing a physical ground ball coming at us, with a still ground ball of moving our feet and pretending to field a ground ball before we actually field a ground ball. And for every rep that the next guy was doing at the next high school, my teammates and I were doing 60 more than they were. We were just doing more. And so when it came to the ground ball in the 6th inning against our rivals, in the playoffs, you were just over prepared and it doesn't feel as hard.
Dude, the way you said that was so much confidence.
Yeah. No, I mean, that was it. And my point being, I wasn't good, but I was more prepared than everybody else in high school. And that eventually got me to playing at an SEC baseball school with less talent than pretty much everyone else, just out of sheer preparation. And yeah, so that can really bring people a long way.
I love it. I'll tell you, man. I remember like when YouTube came out, Okay. Like when YouTube got invented,
Yeah.
I remember I looked up how to play basketball like Michael Jordan, and there was a
Yeah.
grainy video. Okay.
Yeah.
And they interviewed him, and he was talking to a young Kobe. And Kobe's like, how do you do it? And anyone that's played basketball, you get the ball in what they call triple threat. You hold it kind of by your shooting hip. So you can shoot, you can pass, you can dribble. He goes, I get in triple threat. And it's Michael Jordan. So he's looking to score. And he goes, and I look at their feet. And in basketball, you're supposed to attack the front foot because it's kind of like harder for them to react. I look at their feet
That makes sense.
and I attack the front foot. And there's like, all right, how do you do it? And he goes, well, if they're close, and I think I go past them, I just attack that front foot. And then Kobe said, okay, now what if they don't have a front foot and they're even? He said, good question. I jab, they have to react, they drop a front foot, and then I go attack the front foot.
Yeah.
And Michael Jordan goes, and that's how I play basketball. And Kobe was like, wait, you're the greatest player of all time. Like, you got every move in the book. And he's like, what else do you do? He goes, and Michael Jordan literally just laughed and goes, oh, I've done it 100,000 times. So I just do it really, really well.
Yeah.
That was literally it. And dude,
Yeah.
watch a video of him. Watch a video of him.
Yeah.
You see him hunched over. You can probably visualize it. He's just looking at the
I
feet
can
and just
see it.
goes.
Yeah.
And it's just like, dude, I heard that, and like, okay, now, of course, off of that, you have to react, and there's so many other elements, but like, just like that concept just completely blew my mind, dude. So I'm glad to see that you were able to take it. It took you far, and it took you far in baseball, and dude, it's sports are powerful. Sports are a powerful teacher. Athletics, movement are powerful. Mike, I got a fun little update for you on myself.
All right, I'm listening.
Let's see the day. It's September 5th. So I'm just inside 3 months. December 3rd, I'm running the Devil Dog 100-mile ultra marathon.
Awesome. Good for you. Where's that at?
It's in Virginia, DMV. Are you going to be home? December
3rd? December 3rd? Yeah.
Yeah.
I will be.
Cool. You just signed yourself up to pace me for the last 50 miles. No, I'm just
Yeah, you're saying my pacer just fell down and is now ordering French toasted Cracker Barrel. I don't know.
Dude, I know where this is. There's a Cracker Barrel near there. But I'll tell you, the reason I signed up for it was it's like, there's a lot of reasons I signed up for it, but it's just a discipline thing. Like, it's easy to say I have discipline, but it's like, so these races, okay, everyone can run one, and I mean it. You just have to be conditioned, right? And the conditioning, I've run 50-mile runs, I've run 50Ks. It's just a lot of training. And I was like, if I really want to test that I'm a disciplined person, this is how I'm going to do it. And then I'm going to be able to transfer that discipline to being aware in the moment. I'm going to be able to transfer that discipline to being kind to people. And this is just a build of just discipline. And, and other things like willpower, but it's a fucked up race, man. It's 5 20-mile loops. So that means 4 times I'm going to be directly next to my car where I can quit.
Yeah.
And especially the one at mile 80 in December 3rd in the mountains when it's going to be like 30 degrees and 2 a.m.
Yeah.
I can't wait for that one.
Yeah.
That's my moment.
Yeah. Yeah. That car is going to be looking right at you. Yeah, good for you, man. That is like super admirable. And you've been doing this for a while, and it is just discipline. And it's you really make make it part of your life, and I think it's awesome. Really
I have people to thank that certainly inspired me for this one.
Yeah.
For all, everything, but this in particular. Mike, man, we got to wrap it up eventually because I feel like we could keep going. I'd like to wrap up with a question for you.
I'm ready.
That is, what has got you the most stoked right now in life?
The most excited in life is I'd say it's that I'm hiring for like the first time in my business, like a full-time position. Reason why I'm most stoked about that is because I spend a lot of my days since starting a business a couple of years ago with many different ideas and wanting to put them into place and execute and build a business that continues to really provide value to people, financially, emotionally. And I have a million ideas, and I'm finally going to be hiring somebody that can help, bring another set of hands and has the skills to execute and, do those things while I'm continuing to serve clients. I think that at this moment, probably what I get most excited about. Yeah.
I love it, dude. That's a cultivation of so much. You've made the decision. You are hiring someone right now. Just fine.
Oh yeah.
Amazing.
I'll be sending the offer tomorrow. So I just
wow.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
you're hiring.
I'm
You're
hiring.
there.
I have lots of interviews, lots of awesome people. There are so many awesome people out there. But yeah, it's just I'm doing it. What about you? What are you most excited for besides the devil dog?
Devil dog. Yeah. What has got me most excited right now? Whew, there's a lot on the list.
Leftovers from dinner last night at the leftovers from the pasta dinner last night.
Yeah, I wish, dude. Even though it's 11 o'clock here, I am thinking about what the next dinner is.
Yeah.
What's got me most excited? So the first thing that comes to mind is that on Friday, I'm going to a 7-day Wim Hof retreat. So Wim Hof is like, breathing, cold exposure. It's also it's also kind of like summer camp for kids or for adults. What I'm really, really excited about was something I've tried to implement into 2022 was taking time for myself every month.
Okay.
2020 and 2021, I worked a lot. I mean, a little bug. I worked a lot. And so this year I got some good time off in Italy, or this month I got some good time off in Italy. Or I'm sorry, last month because it's September 5th. Then I'm doing Wim Hof. Next month I'm doing a hike on the Wonderland Trail, which is like a 7-day backpacking trip.
Nice.
And then actually in November, something I should tell you about is I'm hosting my first retreat. So I rented a really nice home up on a lake in northern Idaho, and it's going to be like a self-growth retreat. I'm going to take people through like 10 different modules, some really cool stuff.
Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. Coeur d'Alene's up there.
Yeah.
So this is beautiful.
An hour north and east. Did you guys stop on your drive?
We drove right through Coeur d'Alene, and I was blown away. I don't mean to interrupt you, but I was like,
no.
I know. I've been through the sliver of Idaho, and I'm so proud of it.
Yeah.
But go ahead.
Dude, right? Yeah, the panhandle, man. So we'll be an hour north and a little east of it in Sagal, Idaho. Sandpoint's kind of like the bigger town. But
cool.
Yeah, that's what I'm super, super excited about. And then December, I'm running that 100 miles, so I'll take some time for myself then.
Nice. Exciting.
Good.
I admire the heck out of you, man. I always have. And I think it's good to listen to people and not feel like you have to match up with them, but just like take trinkets from what they do. And I think you've given me a lot of trinkets for sure, little things.
Oh, appreciate that, dude.
Yeah.
Dude, so, I'll tell you, one of the things that compelled me to have this on was, life gets busy for both of us. We're running around. I started to feel like I guess now I'm reflecting on it's kind of selfish. It really came from like missing you, man. Like we have not talked not business in a while.
Yeah.
And I was just kind of like, dude, there's something to learn from this cat. Like, and I want to chat with them.
Yeah.
And I tried to, that's really the point of this podcast, is to make a container for that. And
Yeah.
I know you're busy, dude. It's Labor Day. I know we shoot this ahead of time. It's Labor Day. So Mike, I appreciate you for dropping all these gems. And for any of those you listening, if you did like this episode, please subscribe to the show, give it a rating, and just do me and one other person a favor and send this out to one person that you think could, walk away with something from it. Because I think this was just, great nuggets from Michael. So I appreciate you, man.
All right, Sean. Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
Thank you.